Am I on? No.
Are you on?
I'm on now. Thank you so much. Who knew? It's hard to listen to that song and not move something, a little finger, something. It's a wonderful song. Thank you so much, Bob. Thank you, Bodie. Well, good morning and welcome to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I am not Reverend Carol. My name is Reverend Katherine Saux. I'm a staff minister here, and I have the honor of being able to do the talk today in the service while Reverend Carol is in Scotland leading a tour of some of the sacred sites and doing a lot of going to really great restaurants, it looks like, as well. So this is a wonderful center and where our vision is awakening personal transformation. And our mission is teaching tools for positive change. So in particular, I would like to thank you for coming on this special weekend, the Memorial Day weekend. I know that for many you are going out of town, but this is not just a holiday to go out and have a good time. This is a time when we remember those who have fallen in war to defend those who are trying to defend our homeland, giving their lives to protect others, to protect our freedom. The heroes, the ones who gave the ultimate sacrifice. And we owe such a debt of gratitude and remembrance for them. So this is very special. And I would like for us to take just that moment to honor the men and the women for whom this holiday has been dedicated. That ultimate sacrifice. We all have fathers, mothers, uncles, brothers, someone that we knew, someone we have been told about, who gave a life for this. And they deserve our gratitude, they deserve our prayers, they deserve our thanks. And there were those who went to war, whether they agreed with what they were fighting for or not, but they went. And then some came back. And the horror that they witnessed made them devote their lives to peace, to trying to find ways of making sure this didn't happen again. And Reverend Sarah gave me a quote that I really appreciate. This came from someone that was quite unusual. And here's the quote. On Memorial Day, I don't want to only remember the combatants, those who gave their lives. There were also those who came out of the trenches as writers and poets who started preaching peace. Men and women who have made this world a kinder place to live. This was written by Eric Burdon, the English singer and songwriter for the Animals and the funk band War. Many of us know him as the singer for the House of the Rising Sun. So instead of quoting Ernest Holmes, we're quoting Eric Burdon here. So anyway, I wanted to just begin with that because it's important that we spend that moment recognizing Memorial Day. So before we get started, I would like to welcome anyone here who's a first-time visitor to our community. So if you are, welcome to you, and if you are a very first-time visitor or someone who's coming back after a long time, please raise your hand, and you will find a gift being put into it. Here we are. We have a member of our membership team. Hi, welcome. Thank you. This is a packet that gives you lots of information about who we are, and in there is a blue contact card that if you fill it out and return it to that beautiful, beautiful young woman that you just saw, we will give you a free gift. And it's a little book called How to Speak Science of Mind. So it tells you a little bit about our beliefs, and it's a free gift to you. So please do so after the service. And you find, her name is Suzanne Roth-Paul. She's back there. Ta-da. So please do that. So before we get started, I would particularly like to honor the altar that we have for today, that was created by Janet Ryan. And she didn't tell me the colors, but I got the divine memo. And Janet actually did this in honor of the title of my talk today. It's called From Planning to Action. And Janet is really good at taking symbols and really making them come alive, because that wonderful spiral thing at the top, those wonderful little jewels spiraling out, represent the cosmic pattern of externalizing thought, intention, moving out into action. And then underneath that, those wonderful little lights that are still part of that fuzziness under there, that is potential waiting to be actualized. Isn't that beautiful? Thank you, Janet. And before we also get started, I'd like to take a moment to also acknowledge our practitioners at the table over here. I have been a practitioner before I became a minister for 15 years, and I have to tell you, I was on the National Board of Practitioners. I've known practitioners all over the country. This community, you are blessed with one of the finest core of practitioners I have ever known. They are solid, they are pure, they have integrity, they are amazing. These practitioners are here to serve you with prayer, with spiritual counseling, with guidance. Use them. And these practitioners today are here to give you prayer after service. So if you have anything heavy on your heart, don't take it home. Take it to a practitioner. Let them pray with you. So what we're doing this year is being part of all the centers for spiritual living around the country in sharing the same themes of spiritual values. This is what we're talking about. You know, how do we live according to spiritual values? And this month's theme is spiritual living through creativity. Creativity, which is wonderful because the act of creation is happening all the time. The Creator didn't just say, pow, here's the world, now go do something with it. The act of creation is happening constantly, ceaselessly. This is ongoing all the time. And so today's talk is from planning to action. Okay? Yeah. Love this. Okay. So, all of us have the ability to dream. All of us at one time or another have created wonderful scenarios for ourselves. And probably we have also thought about what it might take to get there, to achieve that wonderful scenario. We might even have created a list. I'm really good at lists. We might have searched the internet about this wonderful idea, or read books. Perhaps we've even created a vision board. And yet all the planning in the world isn't going to create a single thing if we don't take action. Unless we implement something with our faith and our beliefs, we will never bring it about. It will remain in the realms of wishful thinking and fantasy, in the fields of what if and if only, in those fields of gossamer fairy wings that spin castles in the air. Isn't that a beautiful image? Reverend Mary found this. She finds the most glorious images. I know that Reverend Carol might be used to this, but I'm not. You know, I gave her these ideas, then she comes back with this stuff, and I'm going, God, that's just what I was thinking. Castles in the air. And I'm not sure about you, but I know I have been prone to this in my past life. Well, one of these days, gee, it would be great if, when my ship comes in, this kind of idea, these great scenarios about how my life will be, and it stays up there. Then I found this faith, this philosophy, this way of life. And if there's one thing religious science is about, it is about putting spiritual principles into practice for practical use for everyday life. Or as our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, says, converting faith into a dynamic use of spiritual power. Converting faith into a dynamic use of spiritual power. In his book, Creative Mind is Success, this little book here, Dr. Holmes writes on page 30, most people simply sit and wish for or long for something. They may even go so far as to believe that their desire is going to happen. All this is good as far as it goes, but it does not go far enough. What we must do is to provide that already having received attitude. We all need more backbone and less wishbone. This little book, Creative Mind and Success, it's small, but it's mighty. It's one of those gems that Dr. Holmes wrote. I've read it about, 22 times. It's got so many underlinings, I have to kind of go back in and do a different color to give you the quotes that I want to give you. And I'll be, calling upon it a lot during this talk, and we do have it in the bookstore if you want to buy it. But it's all about putting faith into dynamic use of spiritual principles. After all, what is the name of our community? The Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. It's not spiritual thinking or spiritual contemplation or spiritual pondering or wondering or even navel-gazing. Yes, we do teach meditation, and we even teach contemplation. We teach a lot of spiritual practices. But why do we do this? Because we hope that you will put these practices to work in your life to find ways to make yourself happier and more loving to yourself and to others. What is our mission? Teaching tools for positive change. Even the word tools carries an implication of action of some kind, as does the word change. No action, no change. No change, no growth. No growth, no transformation. Which goes back to our vision, which is to awaken personal transformation. You see, we have thought about this. So, what are the values we should use to ground ourselves as we consider moving from planning to action? The first one is imagination. And I'll talk a lot more about that. The second one is risk. Taking a risk. And the third one is persistence. And you'll find we need all of these to move from planning to action. So let's start with imagination. And I'd like to read you something from Albert Einstein, who I think knows what he's talking about. Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to what we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. So in speaking of imagination like this, I am talking about a powerful tool, not daydreaming or wishful thinking. It would be similar to the difference between a laser beam and what your car headlights look like in a dense fog. Okay. And Ernest Holmes says, life is from within outward. You are the center of power in your own life. The first Sunday in May, Reverend Carroll's talk was called You, the Creative Center of Your Universe. And it was a really good talk. And I'm just going to take her talk one step further today. The idea, the dream, the vision that is within you for that greater yet to be, whatever that may be, it begins as a small flame, a flicker, really. And that must be fanned by the flames, the wings of your imagination, until it becomes like a bonfire that blazes brightly and burns hot, hot, and strong. I think you've heard the phrase, I know I have, the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. Do you know, have you heard that? Is it familiar? Yeah. Well, the letter of the law can be pretty empty if the spirit of the law is missing. And that same thing holds true in spiritual mind treatments, in affirmative prayer, and I think practitioners can certainly speak to this. We call it speaking our words, our word, the word of truth, the word of the law. You know, because spiritual mind treatment or saying an affirmation is good. But saying it with faith and conviction is something else. That's when it pops. That's when something happens. And that's where the fire comes in, and that's where imagination plays its role. That's where the it's already here attitude comes into play. That's where the power of imagination happens. Back to creative mind and success. Love this book. Let me go. We must become the thing we want. We must see it, think it, realize it, before the creative power of mind can work it out for us. This is an inner process of the expansion of consciousness. It is a thought growing and realizing within. Remember, from within out? All can do this who wish and who will take the time and trouble, but it will mean work. The majority of people are too lazy to make the effort. It will mean work. So what kind of person can do this? What does it take to be imaginative? Well, the imaginative person is passionate. Passionate. If you want to make a fire burn in you and have that desire blaze brightly, you have to bring that kind of zest and gusto for which you want to bear. A passionate person refuses to see obstacles. Now, I wrote that early on and I gave it to Mary, but you know what? I changed my mind. A passionate person maybe doesn't refuse to see the obstacle, but we see through them. We just see right through them because we keep our eyes on the prize. And all of these qualities are qualities we teach in Science of Mind. These are what categorize and characterize a religious scientist, a practitioner, because we know the truth and we stick with it. We keep our eyes on that demonstration and we see through conditions to the truth. So now what? So now you're on fire. Your dream is blazing in your heart, and you know the path you have to take to achieve your goal, what comes next? Risk. Risk. You have to move from your comfort zone, and you have to go to where the magic happens. This is the critical point where desire becomes action. The Buddha said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And to take this single step, you have to walk out of your house. And what are the things you might have to risk to achieve your dream? That scares me to even look at it, man. Oh, God. Thank you, Mary. Great image. Well, you might have to learn a new skill. I stand here as an example of that. I had to go back to school to learn to become a minister. I had to invest a lot of time and money to do that. Learning a new skill. You might have to move to a new location. You might have to, this is a biggie, leave a relationship. It happens. You might have to cure an addiction. This is a big one, and I've had clients who've had to make this leap. You had to leave a secure financial source in order to follow your dream, to do something different. And in general, you have to open yourself to the unknown. Now, any one of these risks is a big step. But in fact, often our dreams may ask us to take more than one of them at the same time. In doing so, we'll call upon some of the other values that we've talked about this year. Things like courage, commitment, integrity, right momentum, faith, willingness. All of these things we've been sharing over the past months. And it does sound daunting. But behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, and it's not even Christmas. Okay? First of all, I would like to assure you that Creator's Spirit, whose ceaseless givingness of itself through, in, and as each of us, always supports its own expression. Get that? I'm going to say it again. God supports its own expression as each of us. God is not into suicide. Okay. All right. This is true, right? So regardless of how tough the situation might seem to our human eyes, God's will for us is always good and more good. So this dream, this vision that is calling to you, pushing you, pulling you, is for an expansive, more better life. More better, okay? More better, that's a word. It is not designed to leave you broken and homeless in a tent by the side of the freeway. It is not. So God is not served by playing small. I think Marianne Williamson said something like that, and I believe her. I have found it to be true in my life. Any practitioner here can guarantee it because each one has demonstrated it more than once. And second piece of good news, great tidings, good joy, okay? You always have loving resources right here in your own community to support you, encourage you, counsel you, and comfort you. You have practitioners, you have ministers, you have classes, workshops, books, you have your friends. You are not alone, ever. Look around you. We are all here together, doing this together, and that is what spiritual community is all about. So, take a breath. And take the risk. Take the step. Because you are being carried on powerful wings. So, let's talk about one last value. Persistence. The journey of 1,000 miles may begin with one step, but it certainly doesn't end there. I mean, where would we get if we took a step and then said, that's it for the day, let's go to Starbucks? It's one more step, and one more step, and one more step, and one more step. Anyone who exercises knows the drill. And as Dr. Holmes has said, it will mean work. If we want to do a thing that is really worth doing, we must mentally grow until we are that thing which we want to see made flesh. This may take time, but we should be glad to use all the time necessary for our own development. Daily, we must train our thought to see only that which we wish to experience. Daily, one step at a time, one thought at a time. We know that affirmative prayer works. Our practitioners' treatments demonstrate all kinds of healings regularly. So much so that we never even think about proclaiming them, as to one and all. We don't think about it. I mean, they are just everyday miracles to us. They really are. Many of you have probably been the happy recipients of demonstrations of our practitioners' prayers. You wouldn't be here if you didn't believe, or at least suspect, that our spiritual principles work. So why don't more people sign up for science of mind, religious science, new thought, for this stuff, this great stuff? In my first roots class last week, as we were talking about how the roots of this belief, this faith, go far, far back into ancient history, truly. I mean, our roots are very deep. One of the students asked this very question: why don't more people get it? And we talked about a lot of things, including about how this philosophy places the responsibility for our lives squarely in our own hands. For some people, this is very liberating, and they love that. Other people find it scary, and they would much prefer to be told what to think and what to do. But I think the biggest thing of all is that the principles of science of mind take imagination, risk, and persistence. They require dedication and hard work. And I guess I have to agree with Dr. Holmes when he said the majority of people are too lazy to make the effort. I don't know about you, but I don't intend to be part of that number of people. I have seen what we can do. We can perform everyday miracles by using the passionate imagination that moves the law to work, by staying dedicated to that and refusing to let obstacles get in the way, by using the persistence of my belief and faith and placing myself into the I already have attitude. And lo and behold, and so it is. You know, it works. Our spiritual philosophy, Science of Mind, does not hand you a magic wand to make your life all better. Sometimes I wish it did. I mean, I'm human. But it does give you access to the only power that is, which is God itself. It reminds you that it's there within you because you are it. It is you and you are one. What more can you ask? What more can you ask? And you don't need a mediator to get to it. You don't need a rabbi or an imam or a priest. There is nothing between you and it. It is immediately available and accessible right here, right here. And we here are dedicated to giving you all the tools necessary to help you find that, use that, love that, be used by that. That's why we're here. That's the vision and the mission. I love this stuff. You know, and so this is all about change your thinking, change your life. It is simple, but nobody claimed it was easy. That's why we give you the values. And lo and behold, we give you good tidings of great joy because you always have everything you need to make it happen. So in closing, dear hearts, I would like to finish with one last quote from our very wise founder. We are chemists in the laboratory of the infinite. What shall we produce? So imagine it, plan it, and as Nike says, just do it. Thank you. And so now it's time for our inner work, and I would dearly love for all the ministers and practitioners to stand and surround our congregation with their loving consciousness. These wonderful demonstrators of everyday miracles. With our spiritual support music from Bodhi. So let's go within. To that one infinite, incredible, unconditional love in life. The ceaseless creation. Irrepressible, inexhaustible, ineffable. I call it the beloved. It goes by many names. And it responds to each one, to all. It is the life that lives itself through me. It breathes through me. It is as intimate as the breath in my nostrils. It is as vast as the cosmos. I cannot think my way to it, but my heart leans into it, and lo, it is there. I see it in every face. I feel it in the cool air. I feel it in the warm sun. I know it right here. And in its goodness, I give thanks for everything, every blessing, every experience. I know that today, as we come together to celebrate, what I know is that this celebration expands and gives more opportunity for that one to flow through each of us, to create an expanded consciousness. And what we ground here today together flows in through and as us and out into the world as peace, as love, as joy, as harmony, as abundance, as beauty, as kindness. In this moment, I accept and know that those who died giving themselves for peace, for freedom, for their countries, no matter which quote unquote side they were on, they swim in the ocean of life, and their souls continue to be one with that. And I give thanks for all of it. I know that this moment, there is nothing that is needed that has never, ever been withheld. The givingness of God is total. Every desire of the heart, every unspoken thought is known and granted with love. I claim harmony. I claim wise guidance. I claim good counsel. I claim reconciliation and loving relationship. I claim abundance of all kind. Comfort for those who need it. Beauty of the eye, ease of heart, peace of mind. This is the truth. This is what we claim and know, and this is what I accept. This day is the day the Lord has made, and it is good, and so it is. Thank you, practitioners and ministers.